Hey guys, welcome back to the Hoosier Garage, and we hope that many of you have been enjoying the series on this van. It's been going for well over about a year and a half now, and we've pretty much went from the very beginning up to this point. It is actually, you can start it, it's got brand new tires, it's got a rear end change in it, the gears in it, and refresh of all the rubber and everything. And we've been doing body work, interior work, a lot of sheet metal, all that kind of stuff. So we're getting to the point where we're really aiming at getting it on the road. And one of the last things we really need to do is kind of look at the transmission. There's some leakage under there. Typically you're going to think it's the transmission pan seal. We got a new one of those, a new and improved one of those. And we're going to take a look at a few other little seals down there that sometimes are overlooked, and we're going to see if we can get to those and get those replaced. So why don't you come along? Okay, so we have a 72 B200 van. It's a Dodge, obviously. When you hear B200, and if it's a factory, not switched out or anything, that means it'll have at least a 727. So that's what we got here. And they did not call these torque flights, they called them load flights. And I'm sure there's some differences on maybe the gearing or the banding or something like that in there. And obviously here's your speedometer, gear, here's one of your transmission cooler lines, and then one of the other ones is right here. This is your kick down. It has a seal, and then your actual shift linkage has a seal in there as well. So we might, if we can, attack those. And some of them I think you have to get in through the pan. Of course, we're getting a new pan seal anyways. Look at this one, it's just very dirty, very leaky looking. So we're gonna address that. We also have a new O-ring for the dipstick tube, and the dipstick is on the kind of this opposite corner over here on the passenger side. Whoops. Alright, so you saw the pan come down in a much of a violent fashion. The way it was acting, I was just planning and it was going to pry it loose a little bit, and it would have to kind of peel it off, but it all just dropped. And that's fine because I actually had the pan here and it caught most of it. I mean, there's some on the floor. But we are using our provided super clean floor absorbent in spots, at least to keep it away from me right now. I'm going to go ahead and take this as the neutral safety switch. It's a big hex, kind of a bolt type deal. I'm going to take that out and look at that. I might even replace it because it looks like it might be leaking, but we'll just take a look. We'll get this all cleaned up. This was caked really heavy right here with this grease. And while the rest of this is draining, we might go ahead and put a new filter on. And then once it all clears out, we can clean this up. Then we'll look at the seal situation and see what we can get to, what we can replace. Alright, so doing a little bit of cleaning here. I'll show you what's going on. See how much better there. Okay. And what I did, I just took some brake cleaner and some super clean spray, you know, squirt, squirt. And I scraped what I could off with one of these. Hit it with the brake cleaner, let it soak, and then hit it with super clean. And I went ahead and ate lunch and came back, and I took some 3M pad, like the gray pad here, little slivers, and did a good scrubbing, and then took shop towels. There you go. Again, this is where the neutral safety switch goes. This is our manual shift lever. I'm going to replace that seal for good measure. I think a lot of that leakage is coming from there, and I believe the transmission kickdown has a seal there too. We'll look at that and I'll show you what I found in the service manual about that. This does say 72. Anytime you see that clock pattern there, that's usually a date. I have the date in the middle. We got all our numbers here, and even right here, A727, so that's 727. And that's also detectable by the shape of the oil pan. It has that bump out over there, whereas the 904, it just comes straight, and it has this kind of a angle here. So let me show you what the service manual shows about the selector shaft. So right here, manual lever shaft seal, and it says if the valve body manual lever shaft seal requires replacement, drive it out of the case with a punch. Drive a new seal into the case with a 15/16 inch socket and a hammer. And you can replace without taking the valve body out. So here is the new seal that we bought. And it's kind of like a very small pinion seal. It's got the metal body. And if we take our 15/16 socket, you'll look and notice that it is exactly the same size. So that's what they're showing right here. Okay, so we'll have to drive the other one out. All right, we've put a light up here and we've taken the levers off. This one being the kick down lever, then the shift lever. Well, that right there, this seal that goes around here is what we need to get out. Now, like the service manual said, you can take it out without removing the valve body. You just have to use a small screwdriver and a hammer, and be careful not to gouge or score this shaft or the bore that the seal sets in. So I'm going to carefully try to kind of peel that thing out of there, and then we will get the new one ready to put in, probably grease it up a little bit, and then put it on there with that 15/16 socket. Okay, so I started with a little flathead screwdriver like this, and I was trying to pretty much lance it so I can dig it out of there. But I ended up using this little snap-on, it's like a little pick tool, and I kind of got in there at an angle and pried down on it and kept turning because it was wanting to bend this shaft. It's not completely hard. And I kept moving around and bending, and it just popped up out of there. So, a little bit of a action there, and it comes right out. So there's our old one. We got the new one getting ready to go in. I'm going to make sure we do a little check first and see if we need to do anything else there besides a little bit of cleaning. Okay, we've got another seal here. It's a kick down shaft seal, and it basically goes on top of the other one, well, and a next level above it. 1-3308 through Napa automatic transmission parts. And where we will put the other one in, that's for the shift, the manual shift lever. Let me spin around underneath here. So the one we need to put in, we just took out, goes around here. And then this one will go in just like this, on top of here and down there. But we gotta pull this little piece out, I believe. I'll try to pry that out, and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, so before I made any mistake of prying, I looked real good at it. And on top of this, it's a little like a washer almost. There's one of these little guys right here, a little clip. So I'll pop that out, and then I would believe, yep, looks like a washer. I don't think, oh, there's a little bit of the seal in there. Let me see, there we go. It appeared most of it had left, but it's sunk, it's shrunk and sunk down in there. There we go. Here we go. And that's wanting to drop. But it ain't gonna, it kind of stopped right there, so. There it is. And see, it's curved side down. So we'll hit this again. And then let it dry. We'll wipe it down in the meantime. And we'll be ready to put the new seals in. Okay, so I'm gonna blame the GoPro. I hit the button and it started to record, but then it shut off there automatically. One of my gripes about this thing. Unfortunately, we already had the seals in, so I didn't get to show you. The metal seal with the rubber inlet on it goes around here. We cleaned it out really good. I was able to use some brake clean and go all the way through there, and then take a nice clean shop rag, shop towel, and wipe it out. This was able to drop, and then we put the new all rubber seal in here. the curved side down, put this washer plate back in on it, and then proceeded to put the clip back in, and that's good. Now this one down here, we had to use a 15/16 socket and drive it down flat to where it was nice and flush all the way around there, okay? So we're good to go there. We got a nice seal. We put a little bit of white lithium on the rubber surfaces so that it would slip down over this good. It's kind of snug going down over it. And then it wouldn't tear it or abrade it any. And the same thing with the rubber one up here. Pretty easy to put in, just make sure you're taking your time and doing it right, okay? So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna let this set. We got the levers right here, okay? We're gonna clean those up really good. We'll put those back in the right position. And then we're gonna deal with replacing this filter here. There's like 3 screws. And we're gonna clean up this gasket rail and get our new and improved O-ring style gasket on, get the pan cleaned up and put it in. We'll paint some of that stuff, make it look good, clean up stuff like this. I might see if I have another neutral safety switch. I think this one leaks, and we'll see. All right, so the filter's in, just a few screws, no big deal there. And we got the A727 gasket from Lube Locker. I've not used this specific brand before, but I've used a similar version. They had a Mopar for Performance one, which was a kind of a thick plastic gasket, and it had the rubber O-rings inset. This is really kind of the same concept. On the rail on ours, it has the little ditches, I guess you can call it, between each of the holes. So if it's a completely flat, smooth surface, this will take care of it. This will take care on ours because it's got 3 ribs, and the outer ribs will take care of it. Plus it goes around the bowl holes. So this is much improved. I don't like to use cork gaskets. They seem so porous that the fluid will go through them. Some people will slather them in RTV, and I think it's so thin that it eventually will get between the RTV and the cork, saturate the cork, and then it starts oozing out of the edges of the pan. These here aren't bad, which is what come with the filter. It's like the rubber ones. They're kind of thick, a good 1/8 of an inch thick, or about a 1/16 of an inch. And but I think these are very improved over any of this stuff. So the good thing about these gaskets here, let me move this one out of the way, is it actually gives you a good reference, because it gives you a 904 gasket and a 727 gasket. This is a 904. Notice that it has this one little bend here, and otherwise it's a pretty kind of a square with rounded ends situation. It just has this one. Now keep that in mind. Here in the next shot, I'm going to show you the 727 gasket. And here's the 727 gasket. You pretty much have this same bend going on here, and the same shape here, and same shape here. But here's where I was talking about earlier, it kind of kicks out. If you're looking at a pan from underneath the car, and on the passenger side, you see this little extra bump out here, 727. And that's exactly what we got here with our Lube Locker. This is like a $25 gasket. I think I got this through Jegs. Maybe it's Summit. No, it was Summit. Summit had this. Okay, so a couple hours later, we got our gasket hanging there. We've been doing a lot of cleanup of bolts. And my son was out here. Transmission pan, nice and painted. Made sure to paint the edge here where it exposes the dipstick tube. We went ahead and took the old gasket off. Just an O-ring is all it is, but you want it the right size. And our kick down and manual shift levers. So these are going last. This pan's gonna go on next with the new gasket. The filter's in, all that other stuff is in. The new filter, the pan rail is cleaned up. I'm gonna give it one more wipe down before we go, because some of it's kind of leaked out on it, but pretty much ready to go there. Obviously stuff up here, and then the neutral safety switch, we'll worry about that absolutely last. We like nice and clean, and I will definitely always take the time to clean stuff up and detail it a little bit. It's nicer if you have to get back to it later, it's cleaner, and if you do have a leak, you're not looking at old damage, so to speak. So we're in a good spot. I'm really happy with this so far today. Sometimes when you mess with this stuff, you know how it goes. You run into stupid upside down issues, and you have to wait or go get something else or do a modification. today's been pretty good. Alright, so we've got our shift levers in place, kick down lever as well. We've got everything tightened down. We got a neutral safety switch cleaned up, and we put the same one back in. I was kind of suspecting that it's a leaker, but it might not be. I'll run it though, and we'll find out. It's not a big deal to replace it. This is basically just the O-ring, the correct size O-ring, whatever that is, for a 727 dipstick tube. And basically when it goes down into the bore, it'll just create like a pressure seal. So we will carefully roll it on here and place it back in the transmission. Like that. There we go. Set it down in there. Okay. I put just a little bit of white grease on it before to help get a suction seal. We'll just do that again. Okay, so mechanically we got everything back together on this 727, and like I just kind of review, I guess you could say, is we took the pan off, took the filter off, took the dipstick tube out, and we took both of the moving levers on the driver's side, which would be the kickdown lever and then the manual shift lever. And they both had 2 seals replaced there. We changed out the filter. We did take the neutral safety switch off or out of the case just to kind of inspect it. It's back in. Old dipstick tube is back in with the new gasket, and then we got a brand new blue blocker gasket on the pan. So really all we need to do next is get the correct transmission fluid. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and clean everything else up here. We got the oil here that we drained out from the pan all over the place. And so what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to fill it up, get the level right, and we're going to go ahead and start it again, and we will actually drive it a little bit. And that's just in and out because we don't have a license or insurance on it yet, anything like that. But you will see the first time that it's been in gear on its wheels in years. So we'll see how that works. So cross your fingers. And yeah, so come be a part of that coming up next.
CarQuest Auto Parts stores are having a big December holiday gift idea sale. It's really big, with values like this Big Max Q-Beam Spotlight. Its 15-foot cord plugs into your lighter. Buy a Big Max and this 6-volt all-weather lantern is free. Or get this Wix 18-wheeler toy truck, just $9.95 with a Wix filter purchase. CarQuest's holiday gift idea sale is big.
Find the man behind the patch at CarQuest, the right place to buy auto parts.
Okay, so I went and got some transmission fluid, about 5 quarts of Dexmerc. It's kind of the direct replacement for the old Dextron Mercon 3 or 2, which is what they recommended for the old 727s, 904s. You can run Type F, you can get a little firmer shift out of it, but we'll just go with the direct replacement since I didn't do a complete flush of the transmission either. So we'll stick with kind of the closest thing we can get to the factory guideline. Well, there it is. And that little leak you see on the ground is from my wife's air conditioning, so no, it's not leaking. Took it back and forth here on the driveway, just up to the street several times. Shifts good, and all the, you know, the short gears like reverse and drive and all that stuff, but we don't know how the transitioning is, but it seems like it's good so far. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up this episode. This boy's got him a truck now. So thanks for watching the Hoosier Garage. Hey, make sure you check out the link below. We got some really cool original artwork you can get on t-shirts and some stickers. And we also have a new drawing coming out soon, but we need to get to 1,000 subscriptions. So if you can help us out with that, we're gonna give away 2 artwork bits for somebody to draw their car. So if you got a car, truck, van, bulldozer, whatever you want to emblazon in a cartoon artwork, you'll be eligible. So help us get to 1,000. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching the Hoosier Garage, and there's always going to be more to come on this, and hopefully soon on the 72 Duster. So y'all take care.